Hello, and welcome to another Campfire Session presented by Encamp. I am your host, Brandon Barlow. Today, we will be discussing injury prevention in technology, and I'll also be providing you an incredible health transformation story that has turned one of our guests into a Healthworks ambassador. Today, our two guests are Kevin Winn. He is the Executive Director of Healthworks Kinesiology, and we also have Kevin Lashley, who is a firefighter out of the state of Kentucky. So, guys, how you doing today?
Doing good.
Good.
So, you guys are in Bowling Green, Kentucky, correct?
That's right. That's right. Just about 50 miles north of Nashville, Tennessee, right on Interstate 65.
Nice. So, Kevin Winn, I was super excited when we connected on LinkedIn. I tend to focus on the E and the S and sometimes forget about the H, which is so very, very important. So just give a little bit of background on yourself and a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so I'm with Healthworks Kinesiology. We're kind of a sister company of Healthworks Medical. So Healthworks Medical has been around for 10 or 12 years, based out of Paducah, Kentucky, just a little bit south from us. Healthworks Medical kind of does all of your occupational medicine services. So pre-employment physicals, post-offer testing, drug screens, hearing tests, anything like that on the occ side. And then over the course of time, they started seeing a need for injury prevention services. And so I had a relationship with them kind of in a part-time capacity, and then we decided to roll that out to a new branch or division of the company called Healthworks Kinesiology. And what we focus on, again, is preventing injuries. And so that's kind of a broad term, but what we try to do is we try to provide systems to people on the front end and then on the back end to enhance their program. So our front end systems are things like post-offer testing, ergonomic risk assessments, physical demands analysis, and then our enhancement systems or solutions are things like ergonomics, wearable technology, and our injury prevention system that we call Move Well. So it's kind of this whole system that has a bunch of things that we can discuss later, but just targeting, kind of the whole individual and trying to provide them solutions to avoid injury.
Yeah. When we first talked, I was really interested in this wearable technology. Like you said, we'll get to that in a bit. So, of course, you have a guest today, Kevin Lashley. So just give a little bit of background information. We'll kind of get into your story a little later.
For me, background information, I'm a pretty boring individual. I am a firefighter here in Bowling Green. So before that, I was a bricklayer, 10 or 12 years. As far as education, I have a degree in biblical studies. But other than that, married, that's about it. 21 years, and pretty simple life. Easy, simple life.
Fair. That sounds good. We'll get to that story a little later. So Kevin Winn, back to you. So what is the mission and goal of Healthworks Kinesiology?
It's interesting. When we started this company, I knew the why behind what we wanted to do, and then we kind of worked towards the what and the how. And usually it's kind of the opposite way, right? You have a product, and then you try to develop the why. But my why was kind of years in the making. But I spent a lot of my life playing sports and baseball specifically, and played collegiately and professionally, and then I got into coaching. And what I really loved about the whole sports environment, I know a lot of people are athletes and connect with the story, is I loved kind of the leadership aspect. I love the growth aspect. So especially coaching, just seeing your players develop and grow as athletes, but also as individuals. And I really, really love that part of baseball and sports. So then when we started looking at this company, I wanted to do more than just prevent injuries. I think there's a lot of programs out there, and some of them are good, but we focus on the bottom line and saving companies money. And that's the ultimate goal. There's got to be a return on investment for companies. But we wanted to provide a solution that wouldn't only just, save companies money by preventing work-related injuries. We wanted to really tap into what motivates people. We wanted to have people change their lives. And so we wanted to look at ways to do that. And so the why behind what we do is we want to give people the tools to make life changes, to make themselves healthier. We want to allow them to be able to go home at work at the end of the day and be able to play with their children or grandchildren, or do that project around the house. And as I was working in factories and doing ergonomics, I realized, one, it's hard work, right? You're doing 12-hour shifts sometimes. You're lifting heavy stuff for 12 hours sometimes. It's really hard work. And I realized, these people are athletes just like people that play baseball or football or avid runners. They're athletes. They're doing athletic stuff for 12 hours a day. And so we really wanted to take an athletic approach and use some of the tools that we've learned from sports and sports medicine and apply that to an industrial background. And so that's the focus of Healthworks Kinesiology is one, to make people healthier, to inspire workforces, and provide companies solutions that are cost effective and have a good return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I saw too is you guys are really data driven, and I'm a data person as well. So how are you collecting these data from the workers?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways. I mean, one is digging back, looking at the 2 or 3 years back and looking at all the work-related injuries that companies have experienced. So instead of just throwing a program out there and not really knowing what we're trying to capture, looking and seeing what is this company experiencing? Where are their injuries coming from? Are they upper extremity injuries? Are they lower extremity injuries? Are they more repetitive stuff? So that's the first step is really digging in and looking at their data, looking at their claims, trying to figure out where these injuries are coming from, and then targeting those specific areas. So if they're coming from, let's say, a forging area or something like that, we're going to go to that forging area. And we give companies choices on kind of what they want to do. But one of the things we do is utilize wearable technology to gather that data. So we can put ergonomic sensors on individuals in different departments, and then monitor those for a few weeks, and we can see what departments are having the most hazardous movements. So if we look in one specific area, in that forging department is 50% of the time they're in a hazardous position, we can use that data to really focus on that specific area, do an ergonomic risk assessment, see what kind of modifications or controls we need to implement, and then also use that area. We do stuff like goal setting things and have team building projects. And so those specific areas that are high risk and are rating that way, we're gonna really focus in on those. And then once we see the improvements come to fruition as far as ergonomic interventions, we'll put those sensors back on them and then see if those hazardous movements have been reduced. So we always want to make sure everything's targeted. We don't want to just throw a program out there and not know if it's working and not know what areas the problems are coming from. So it's a nice way for us to do that.
Gotcha. So is it something like, so you'll put the sensors on someone, they'll go to a work area, and let's say that you find out that you need to put a shelf or you need to take one away. Is that kind of what you're doing? Yeah,
it could be. Absolutely. So if we see, these people are, they're forward bending way more than somebody should be. They're in this hazardous forward bend position all day long. We're going to go in there. We're going to do an ergonomic risk assessment. So we're going to analyze that. So that means me coming on site, taking video, performing industry recognized tools, such as like the Rula or Wisha. I don't know if you've ever heard of those terms.
Oh, yeah.
Taking through some of those type of tools, really honing in on where that forward bending is occurring, and then making ergonomic interventions or engineering controls implementations.
So you also mentioned earlier about ROI. So the companies who are coming to you, what kind of ROI are they expecting? What can you provide? Like any kind of numbers around that?
Yeah, I mean it's a little different dependent upon the industry.
Yeah.
We have found with our customers that we've seen a 7-to-1 ROI.
Wow.
And again, it depends on kind of what they're wanting to do. Obviously, if they do the full program, they're going to have a better ROI typically. But we've seen up to a 7-to-1 ROI.
Very nice. So this idea of wearable technology, is this something new to the industry or just something that you guys are providing?
I'd say it's something new.
Okay.
Obviously, we're providing that. There's a lot of wearable tech all over the world, right? And you're seeing it a whole bunch of different industries.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's been some companies that have really come out with some really good sensors and tech. And so, and the other thing that's nice about them is everybody connects with technology, you know, and so it gives people immediate feedback, which is nice. So there may be a lot of people that try to do, and you may have gone through this before as an EHS professional. You know, you may want to onboard somebody, you want to give them this 2-week training, right? You want to take them to this safety dojo and teach them how to properly lift. But the reality is that doesn't happen too often, right? Just because of time constraints, production demands.
Oh yeah.
So this wearable technology gives them immediate feedback. So it's like they're having coaching all day long. So it's providing you, it's basically an extension of yourself as an EHS professional, because it's teaching these people in real time, which is more effective when they're actually doing their work, how to avoid these movements. But yeah, I'd say it's a new technology. It's not something that we developed specifically, but it's something that we're definitely utilizing now to make our program better.
Perfect. So if I am, running a company and I've got more recordables than I would like, and I'm looking into someone like you, what are the advantages of going with a wearable technology and a full program like yours?
Yeah, I think wearable technology is great. Again, we feel like it's one piece of the solution. And so it gives us insight of where we really need to have intervention. And I think the most effective interventions you can have is person to person. And so we have kind of an all-encompassing program, which would be warm-up routines, self-care routines. We utilize myofascial release technique with rollers and stuff like that. If you ever heard of foam rolling, we use those kind of tools. So we're giving these people tools that they can do away from work too, because I think a lot of times these programs just try to affect people at work, but then they're at home for 12 hours at least, you know. And what are they doing in their away time, or what are they doing on the weekends? And so our full program really targets kind of the whole life of that employee instead of this little window when they're at their facility. And so it gives them tools on their own to make positive changes in their life. And you never know, they may be doing something at home that's causing this work-related injury, right?
For sure.
So to give them the tools to do it at home is going to make them healthier at work, which is going to make them more productive, and also is going to avoid injury. The other thing we do is develop an ambassador program internally for these companies. So we find people in the company that are passionate about health and wellness, that are passionate about healthy movement, and we give them the tools to be basically like coaches on site, to be boots on the ground. So now you've got these people on site that are actively engaging others, trying to teach them techniques. And then what we want to implement, and what happens, is a culture change. We want this culture, this work culture, to become a culture of health and wellness. And I think so many times we try to put those in different buckets. You know, you got your health and safety area. You've got maybe you have a nurse that does some of the wellness coaching. You have somebody that does, maybe ergonomics. And what we try to do is really blend those, because I don't know why they're always in separate buckets. They all kind of go hand in hand.
Very true.
So our program works within those departments, and some factories still may be set up that way. They may have different departments and different buckets, but we work within those buckets or departments to kind of bridge the gap and make a more encompassing program.
So I've said this so many times. One of the things I love about the EH&S sector industry is that it can be very rewarding, and especially health and safety. You guys are working with people, individual lives on a daily basis, which is very nice. Which is kind of a good segue into our other guest, Kevin Lashley. Can you just give us a little bit of background on your story? I'm super excited to hear about it. This is the first time I'm also hearing about it as well. So
yeah, so up till 2007, I was probably 60 to 70 pounds heavier than what I was right now. The last time I stepped on the scale was like 210 pounds. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. Before that, up until I smoked and everything else, up to like 04. And then just as a bricklayer at the time, it was like bending over all day long, and back issues, right? And weight issues, breathing issues, all the above.
Oh, yeah.
So in 07, I was like, okay, we got to make a change here. And, started just gradually running like a mile a day, and the diet. I probably went about it the wrong way, but changed that up. And within 6 weeks, I'd say I dropped probably 30 pounds. It was stupid. And then gradually got in. It's like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try to run a little farther. And by 6 months after that, was running 10K. In less than 14 months, running first marathon.
Wow.
2010 was then hired with the fire department here in Bowling Green. So by then I was fit, probably done a dozen marathons or so at the time. Going down the road, still every now and then having back issues and whatnot. And 2016 had a few hip issues. This goes in the opposite direction. Went down, had some stuff checked out, and I play a lot of golf. And the doctor's like, man, he goes, running's not your issue. He goes, golf is your issue because it's the same motion over and over and over again. And he goes, I'm not telling you to quit. He goes, you need to get stronger in your core and places like that. So got into a little bit of hot yoga, doing stuff like that, a lot of stretching and stuff, at home. And then November of 16 got into ultra running over just regular marathoning and running itself. And man, from there it was like, okay, now what? Then got into the 100 milers, 24-hour events, and
Wow.
And honestly, since 16, I've had no back, no hip issues. Right? You think more miles means more problems. You had those little nagging injuries from now and then, but nothing that you can't take care of. But it's all the preventative maintenance that allows me to do what I do, right? Like he said, the foam rolling, that's something I do on my own. The stick, core strength, probably I'm on shift every third day. So every third day I do a full body workout of some kind. Nothing crazy weight wise, but lots of body weight stuff. And it's all it has done is build strength in areas that's going to help prevent, other injuries, running, work related, whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much my story. The ultra running, again, culture change, right? It's a community in itself. The people are great. We got a lot of CrossFitters at work. It's a change, right? You have to make a change. And if you're not willing to make that change, then you're going to suffer the consequences later on.
That is well said. How did you go from before all of this running? Did you start running when you were younger, or is this something you really just picked up on a whim?
No. Like for all of us, running is punishment, right?
Right.
You mess up in basketball practice, baseball, football, you're going to run. I just did it. Actually, just started running. I'll tell you this: my senior year of high school, I smoked a pack of Marlboro Red cigarettes a day.
Oh, wow. And
I ran a 6:13 mile in high school. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. But that's the only time I'd run. And in 07, when I had to lose weight, I was like, I got to do something. And picked it up. And I was like, that's all I want to do. I just want to lose weight and get healthy. I don't want to race. I don't want to go any farther. I thought the marathon distance was something that you could not get to. I thought it was crazy. And yeah, just fell in love with it, right? It's something, if I do not do it, I feel like I've missed out on something for the day. I feel like I've left something behind.
So you mentioned ultra marathon. So just for the viewers, what is an ultra marathon? How long is that?
So it's anything over the marathon distance, right?
Okay.
The marathon's 26.2. So anything over that you can consider to be ultra. 50 Ks, 31 miles, 50 milers, 100 milers. Oh. They go all the way up to a 3,100 mile event in New York around the city block. You have like 52 days to complete that.
Wow.
You have 6-day events, 10-day events, anything to that. Anything over the marathon distance is an ultra marathon. Good for you. I'm just now starting to pick up running, but nothing. I mean, I'm doing like 5 miles a day, and that's enough for me, Yeah, but you hear that a lot too. Like, and this is a lot of people. I don't like to talk about it to people that don't run, and you say why? Because I don't do it to talk about it, right? I do it because I love it, and because it's a passion. It's something that I enjoy. And you're 5 miles a day. Guess what? It's still 5 miles a day, right? Fair. If it's a mile a day, it's it's a mile a day. If it's walking a mile, who cares? You're doing something. So whatever you're doing, it's going to work. It's going to pay off.
Perfect. Thank you for that great story and information. And Kevin, Winn, I know you guys are doing this ambassador program that you're kicking off next month. Just give a little bit of hint and tidbit about what you have planned up next month.
Right. So, well, you hear Kevin's story and you hear how inspiring that is, right? And
yes.
So again, I've done this for a number of years. I've come to companies and we've tried to do corporate wellness. I did that a long time ago with a company, and we got everybody, gym memberships. I've done stuff on site with companies, and what happens, you kind of have this initial interest, and by the end you have maybe 5% of your workforce that's actually doing it.
Correct.
And guess what? That 5% is probably going to the gym on their own anyway. So you spend all this money on gym memberships, and the people that are using the free gym membership are the ones that already were going to the gym. So what we started realizing, these programs aren't real effective because we're not reaching our demographic that we want to reach. The demographic you want to reach is the 5% of your workforce that costs you 50% of your work-related injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And so by having people like Kevin come and talk and tell his story, I think it really resonates with people because, again, and he said it, he was kind of a normal guy, right? He was 60, 75, 70 pounds overweight, smoking, probably never thought you could even do a 10K, right? And what's the most you've done? What's the
125 is the most.
Wow.
So he's running 125 miles consecutively. And Kevin's is very humble, but in the ultra running world, especially here in this region, he's one of the top ultra runners. So he goes from this guy that's overweight, I would imagine probably not real happy with yourself and who you were as a person. And I kind of went through that same thing. I have a little bit of a story similar, but so I think it really resonates with people because I think people assume to go to the gym, they have to look a certain way, they have to be a certain way or act a certain way. And so he's kind of our real life example to come out to these companies and just tell his story, just tell them it doesn't matter where you start, just do something. Right. And like he said, just going and walking a mile or walking half a mile, that's okay. It's something above what you were doing. And if you can learn to do that, your life's going to change, and then you're going to have this culture shift. And sometimes that's still not enough. And so the other thing that we're hoping to do, and I think we're going to do this next month, is at a health fair for one of our customers, we're going to set a treadmill up right in front of the front entrance. And Kevin is going to be running when people come walking into the door, and he's going to be running when they leave. So, 8 hours at a minimum, he's going to run on that treadmill. And what that's going to do is going to get people talking, right? They're going to, what the heck is this? I can't run on a treadmill for 10 minutes. This guy's been out here the entire day. What's he doing? And so it's going to get them talking. It's going to get them thinking. And then when they hear that he's just a normal guy that just decided to change his life, I think that impacts them a little bit more. So we're going to highlight Kevin. We have another ambassador too, just kind of highlighting their stories. And we do targeted outreach. So we'll be sending emails and different forms of communication to these employees, and just reminding them of their story, and that, you can overcome obstacles. And that's the stuff that gets me really excited. And I think if we can use people like him and use their stories, I think it's going to have a big impact on companies and their culture. So we're really excited about it. I think it's a new way to connect with people, and just something I'm just super passionate about. It gets me excited. And so I think it's going to be really cool. So we're really, really excited to have Kevin on board. And again, lives right here in the same town as me. So I feel very blessed that he's here and willing to help. So.
That is going to be very cool. I like the idea of that. Like, when you come in, he's running, and when you leave, like, what is this guy doing? Like you said, I can't do it for 45 minutes. This guy's doing it for.
It's awesome too. When I brought it up, he's like, "Oh, this is perfect. This is a great training opportunity for me." So he doesn't look at. And again, it's that mindset, right? We've been taught that running is punishment, but really, for a lot of people, running sets you free. And then that's his approach. Is this is great that I'm able, I'm healthy enough to be able to do something like this. He looks at that as an opportunity and a privilege. And so it's just a culture change or mindset change. And that's what we're trying to teach these people. Exercise isn't punishment. Exercise sets you free. And doing things like self-care routines with foam rollers and stretching routines and warm-up routines, they're going to set you free from the problems that you have, the physical problems that you have, so you can be healthier and have a more vibrant, full life. And that's what we're trying to get across to people. And again, it comes back to the why. That's kind of the whole mission of our company.
Perfect. Thank you both for joining us, and thank you for a wonderful, wonderful inspirational story. Kevin, how can someone get in touch with you if they wanted to?
Yes. So our main website is hwkines.com. So it's hwkines.com. It's actually got my phone number on there and my email address. We have a website for the injury prevention program, and that's movewell.com. It's spelled MUUV and then well.com. I'm on LinkedIn. We have an Instagram. It's Move Well also. So
okay.
any form of those, you'll have direct contact to me.
Perfect. As always, you guys can, contact me through LinkedIn. And if you guys like this story, go ahead and give it a like as well, and go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for joining us today. And what's good for business is good for the environment.